Carlo Acutis, who's set to be beatified on October the 10th, grew up here in Milan, Italy. Today, Carlo is known and loved across the world for his example of holiness, for his passion for communications technology, and for his devotion to the Eucharist. Antonia Salzano, Carlo's mother, says her son made living the ordinary extraordinary.
So even the little things in life, from everyday life, obviously being a boy of our times, he lived what all the young people of his generation lived. So computers, video games, football games, school, friends, everything that is normal to us. But certainly he knew, everything that is ordinary in the world, he was able to turn into something extraordinary.
Tutto ciò che è ordinario trasformarlo in straordinario.
Carlo's passion was the world of information technology. He was fascinated with the potential good it could bring. He decided to create a web-based resource where people could learn about the faith. Today, it's an apostolate that his family and members of the Association of Friends of Carlo Acutis continue to carry on.
Perché lui era molto bravo a riprendere, a fare film.
He was very good at filming, making films, and even using computers. What's more is that Pope Francis in Christus Vivit, which is the closing document of the Synod of Young People, wanted to dedicate a chapter to Carlo, in which he practically presents Carlo to all the young people, all over the world, as a model for how he was able to use the media. Above all, what he has done there are these exhibitions that were, above all, the one on Our Lady, on the Eucharistic Miracles, which we say he then, for extraordinary coincidences, above all by, in our opinion, by the will of the Lord, then they spread throughout the world.
Diciamo, si sono diffuse in tutto il mondo.
The work that Carlo started now is available in 17 languages, and anyone can see the Eucharistic Miracles exhibit, even downloading the panels in high quality for free to print and place them in their parishes.
La mostra sui miracoli eucaristici
The exhibition on Eucharistic Miracles was something that engaged him. Let's start from about when he was 11 years old, the period that he began to be assistant catechist in the parish, because he had asked to be a catechist helper, and then sometimes he was able to teach the catechism by himself, because he was a very prepared boy, very ahead of those who were his age.
quelli che erano la sua età, ecco.
In upstate New York, around a 2-hour drive from Manhattan, located in a valley among hills, is the town of Pauling, with a population of 7,500 people. It's a small, quiet town with a vibrant Catholic population. And in the local church of St. John the Evangelist and St. Charles Borromeo, a special exhibition is on display. Large posters carefully placed in the pews beautifully illustrate miracles of the Blessed Eucharist. This is the Eucharistic Miracles of the World exhibition, designed and created by Carlo Acutis. Father John Palatucci is the pastor here.
Well, this exhibition, we started it, actually when I first arrived here, was already here, to promote the reality of the Eucharist. You know, we live in a time, unfortunately, where many Catholics are struggling with that belief. As a matter of fact, I think here in the States there was something done recently about that, and nearly 60% of Catholics do not believe presence of our Lord in the Eucharist, which is a real challenge, you know. So the message is to get people to understand the miracles that actually have taken place over the centuries with the presence of our Lord in the Eucharist. So that's one of the primary things that we're doing here at the parish.
Inside the church, each poster tells a story of a miracle from a different part of the world, detailing what took place, eyewitness accounts, and scientific verification.
Because of the COVID-19 situation, we have to separate our pews and close some pews down, so it was a good idea to put them in those spots. People come in before Mass, they could read about the Eucharist and maybe elevate their belief in the real presence of our Lord.
Local parishioners stroll from poster to poster, taking their time to read the various accounts of the miracles.
I didn't realize there were so many miracles.
It's interesting. I enjoyed the one from Spain where the priest was going to take host to some sick people, and while crossing a river, he dropped the host into the water. And so he got out and he was stuck in the mud, and so some fishermen came over and they witnessed, they looked, and there were 3 fish with hosts in their mouth, and they swam up the river and put the host back in the cup.
Over the past several years, I think there's been a pulling away from the belief of God in the Eucharist, Christ in the Eucharist. And I think through these miracles that they would have renewed interest and they would realize the beauty of receiving God.
In Pauling, this little town, my family is the 5th generation in this church. And they were wonderful priests, but we never had some of these wonderful examples and of what can happen to people when they believe.
Among those here today is Jack Miller, the man who brought this exhibition to Pauling and oversees it.
I was always in awe of the way in which our Lord provides these miracles and mysteries of our faith, and how the miracles then prove those mysteries of our faith. There were so many and all such different stories in such amazing manners. Each one has a unique story to it. Each miracle is a separate miracle, and they're all miracles. How could you look at any one of them and not be amazed by it?
From what started as an idea of Carlo Acutis, it's grown into a worldwide exhibition, bringing stories of Eucharistic miracles to all corners of the globe.
Well, as I look around at all these posters, I think of the young man, this 15-year-old boy who, with inspiration and the grace of God, was able to reach out to millions of people and change their lives, hopefully, to realize the presence of Christ in the Eucharist. I gotta watch because I might tear up, but if we actually realized what we were receiving as the host touched our tongue, we would drop dead of joy. That's my firm belief.
It's to promote the true understanding and belief of our Lord's true presence in the Eucharist. And these posters should be here until everyone in this parish understands and believes that.
I, as usual, am saying that Carlo is my little teacher because he is teaching me so much, above all to rediscover 2 great treasures in my life, the Eucharist and love for the Virgin Mary. He was able to say the Rosary every day and also go to Mass every day. And then, another thing that comes to me so much is his totality in God. For him, there was no halfway. It was all or nothing. When he said before he died that he didn't mind dying yet, so young, because he hadn't lost even a minute of his life doing things that don't please God. And he said, to always be close to Jesus, that's my life plan. And this strikes me very much. I too want that totality in God.
Father Will Conker is a missionary of the Society of Foreign Missions of Paris in Cambodia. He learned about Carlo through the exhibition of Eucharistic Miracles in Rome in 2006. And ever since, Carlo has inspired him, giving an example of a new model of holiness.
As I started doing research about him, I realized how extraordinary his short life had been, and it really taught me a lot. I was blessed to meet with his family. I was especially touched by the encounter with Rajesh, who was probably Carlo's best friend and a worker in his family, and who eventually himself became Christian through the witness of Carlo. I was also touched by the encounter with Flavia, his cousin who, like many of our cousins and families and brothers and sisters, had an experience of Christ, but slowly go away and kind of forget about their first love. And I was so blessed because when I met her last year, she was coming back to the faith through, she says, the intercession of Carlo. And I was so happy to be able to share this witness of faith that she had shared with Carlo. To be able to share it with her was like meeting someone who had met a living saint, which was quite extraordinary for me. And so today, as a missionary in Cambodia, my life is totally different, so far from what Carlo had known, but the mission is the same. It is to share the joy of the gospel with all people, and here it's so urgent.
In addition to the radio programs and online evangelization, the whole Diocese of Rioja, Argentina is preparing to celebrate the beatification of Carlo. Carlo Acutis is a blessed. From this point forward, the young Italian computer whiz can be officially venerated worldwide, and people can seek his intercession. A flow of young pilgrims flooded the streets and piazzas of Assisi for his beatification on October the 10th. These young students from the Emmanuel Mission in Rome are dedicating a year to missionary activity, taking to the streets to spread the love of Christ. And Carlo is their example. Blessed Carlo, a child of the new millennium, succeeded in traveling the path to holiness in this age of information technology and social media. Tapping into the eternal tools of salvation, the sacraments and the Eucharist, he brought them to the new reality, to the digital world. Born in London, raised in Milan, Carlo is now entombed in Assisi's Old Town Church of St. Mary Major, the first blessed of the millennial generation. Carlo's example inspires young people from all over the world to follow Christ in the Eucharist.
Blessed Carlo Acutis has earned the nicknames God's Influencer and Cyber Apostle of the Eucharist. That's thanks to his pioneering work transforming new technology into a tool to talk about God. His life was brief, but made a tremendous impact. He designed the website miracolieucharistici.org. There, he sought to show and explain to the world the principal Eucharistic Miracles. It's a collection that's made its way around to the globe. Carlo's work was huge. He spent almost 3 or 4 years putting together this collection of Eucharistic miracles. It was diffused widely in 2005 as well. That was the year John Paul II dedicated to the Eucharist. From there, the website has spread and gathered international fame in an incredible way. The website, miracolieucharistici.org, is available in 17 languages, among them Swahili, Urdu, and Vietnamese. Using photographs and historical descriptions, the exhibition presents parts of the Eucharistic miracles that have taken place in different countries and that the Church recognizes. It also explains the Eucharist's impact on the lives of different saints. This project has been presented in more than 500 parishes in Italy and more than 10,000 in other countries. Anyone interested in organizing the exhibition can download the 163 or so giant slides. It's the legacy of a young man who clearly understood that his path to heaven was the Eucharist.